And then, but everything, now I've heard some people talk about a tunnel of light where they're going up. And I felt like I was above the ground, but it's almost as if everything started changing around me. Like Tucson started fading out and the upstairs faded in. And I felt like things were moving, and there were these three beings that looked like bright light that were kind of going around me, almost like to keep me from whatever, I don't even know, getting bumped or something. And then finally, this other world, which is like a beautiful forest with vines and a stream in it and all that, just kind of started coming into view. And that's when I had completed my transition upstairs, is what I called it. I was groggy. It was as alert as I was on Earth. At this vibration, I guess, I was very groggy when I first got there. I think the first thing that really hit me was that I could feel no fear. It's as if all that fight or flight or freeze reflex that we have in our DNA, in our very core animal brain, was gone. And everything was so beautiful. All the things like the trees and the flowers and the vines and the ferns, everything it had like an iridescence on it. So if you look at a ribbon that's white, or then you look at a ribbon that's white with iridescence, it's like, this is Earth, this is heaven. And just looking at everything, it was like, I was just marveling. I was just walking around. The amount of love that you're getting from everything you're seeing it's indescribable. And the interesting thing is, if you ever go out like at daybreak or sunset and you look at a tree and the sun's behind it and all the leaves are lit. Now you have to picture the whole tree is like that. And the bark is lit and everything is almost like lit from within. There wasn't like shadows. Like we have, like I live in a little forest and I'm looking out the window and I see a lot of shadows. There weren't any shadows, but everything was kind of glowing in itself. And then I noticed a table, and again, there were some people standing around it. So I went over there and they were all like, welcome back, and it's as if I knew them. And then I noticed the woman that was sitting to my left was a woman that when I was really young, I would see some of these light beings around, and I thought everyone could see them, but they couldn't. So I got teased about it until I realized, okay, they can't see them. I was like 4, 5, 6, 7, and they would just appear sometimes. It's almost like I heard these chimes, and then, or you'd feel like a sense of everything kind of lightening up, like cooler air and a little breeze when you're in the house. And then I would see one of these beings, and they would never talk to me. Just once we talked, but the love that I felt. And I was a gifted student, so to keep me happy in school when they were teaching things like reading and writing and all that, because I could do that when I was in kindergarten, then they put me in the library. And I would read encyclopedias, which I thought was really cool. So I was trying to figure out who these people were, and I figured they weren't devils because I was being raised Catholic, so they must be angels. And so because I always felt so happy and loved. I just felt so much love coming off of them. And then I noticed there were a couple of these light beings that I had seen when I was on Earth. But the only 2 people that talked to me on this table, there was 11 people. We sat down and we started talking, and I was feeling very groggy. And at times when it was interesting, because if I'd ask a question, like Mina was on my left and Raul was on my right, and Mina would start to answer, or I'd get one word, but the whole thing like was an immediate download. So like in my book, there's times when we have conversations that go on for pages, but the whole conversation was like immediately downloaded and comprehended immediately. So then they told me I had a choice. That I could choose to stay up there or I could go back to Earth. Now, if I had made that decision right then, I would not have come back. It was so nice. And so Rahu said, we went to a place, it was a place that I used to like to go to. There's a big cave up behind a waterfall, and I used to go and meditate in there. And on the way there is when I saw this amazing light. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just this ball of consciousness, which I came to realize was like the source or the ultimate consciousness. And it was aware of me with all my little quirks and foibles. It was aware of me and adored me. And if you remember from childhood, we are taught to adore God. And if we're really lucky, God will like us or pat us on the head, you know? And this was like, I could feel this intense love from me. And then I could also feel this adoration back coming towards me, like this complete and head to toes. And then I noticed something else. When I was looking up at the sky, it was a different type of sky. It was almost like patchwork instead of one solid color. And I noticed it was like I was looking through the floor of another realm. And Rahu explained that to me. He said, there's many realms. There's, you know, multitude of realms. And you can go up and you can turn around and you can come down and you can go into the divine. Well, I called it the divine, like you can go all the way up to the top and come back again. So, and this is a problem because some of the times I asked a question upstairs and they answered me, it made perfect sense. And then when I came back to Earth, I'm like, what did they mean by that? You know, it's like my brain is back in gear in the human body. I'm like, I should have taken notes or something, you know. One of the biggest lessons I think that I heard was the fact that it's not going to be like one person being able to change the course of history anymore. There's too many people. But the more that we link arms and work together, which is so nice when you see people of different religions putting down the swords and the guns and saying we all love God in our different ways, and the respect that goes in to people that realize these are things that are not worth dying over. And the fact that people are becoming more global and working for global goals and, you know, healing the earth and, you know, the weather, and that they're beginning to say that there's more important things than one person hoarding it all, and that it has to be shared. To me, God is only love. There's no judgment, there's no hatred, there's no vindictiveness like in a lot of different religions. God is the purest sense of feeling adoration and feeling how to feel adoration. I mean, true adoration, and feeling adored in return. It's the highest level of love and total acceptance to grow, to learn and to grow. I'm going to learn and grow until I die.